What's up, everybody? I'm bringing you another gear review that I think you're going to want to hear if you are a run and gun enthusiast. Saddle hunting, tree stand, it doesn't matter. It's from Bullman Outdoors. It's the Silent Approach set of steps, and these things are wicked cool. Quick question for you. How aggressive are black bear mamas when there's cubs involved?
And then time for huddle house.
Hopefully this bear doesn't come after a wild call. So as a saddle hunter, I get to try a lot of new things, and I'm always tinkering with stuff, and sometimes that means I get to bring you an awesome gear review, and this is one of those cases. Sean Walter sent this to me, I'd say probably midsummer, asked me to, give him some feedback, help him design some maybe different instructionals that'll go with it, and I got to use these firsthand all last deer season, and I alternated between my climbing sticks that I'm going to do a video eventually on, and these, and they both had pros and cons. These have a tremendous value if you're a running gun enthusiast, and here's a couple reasons why. One, it packs ridiculously small. I mean, I don't know of a climbing system other than the Wild Edge steps that pack this small, and honestly, it's kind of cool how you can climb up the tree with these as well. These are designed with a really nice thick waist belt that you could put around your waist and put it on the front of you as you climb, but I wear these across my shoulders just like this. And I absolutely love it. It's out of the way of all my belts. When I'm climbing up the tree, I've got my lineman's belt around, and I can just unzip one of these, pull it out, zip it closed, and set my next step. They're stupid light. I mean, whether you strap these to the outside or you just walk in like this, there were several occasions where I had my bow in hand, arrow knocked, put these on the far side so they weren't in the way of my draw, and just walked in and scouted my way in, found a tree, and climbed it. So everything's got a learning curve, right? These guys are no different. The benefit, though, is the learning curve on these is ridiculously simple. It's a cam buckle strap, just like you're used to having on any tree stand, and you wrap it around the tree, cinch the buckle down, step on it, and put up another one. And what you tend to do is you probably want to put 2 or 3 up on the tree, climb up to about, the third one, and start setting them up again, because you got to set them, every so many feet. Now, the biggest trick to this, and this has nothing to do with the product itself, is convincing yourself that you don't have to space these as far apart on the tree as possible. Realistically speaking, your spacing in between the 2 steps on the tree should only be about 4 or 5 inches. And that's because you're just going to pivot your weight up the tree as you go, and you want all of your force down on that step, putting the arch of your foot right here and down into the tree. And on a perfectly straight tree, it's not as noticeable if you space them out. But if you have a tree with negative or positive lean, which I'm gonna kind of break that down for you here in a minute as best I can, then that strategy really comes into play even more so. But I mean, this system weighs 5 pounds. Actually, it's well under 5 pounds if I'm not mistaken, and it's incredibly light and comfortable. So I think you're gonna see the benefits of having to set up a couple of extra of these every time. But let's jump over here, and I'm gonna show you what a negative lean on a tree is, and one of the ways you can utilize this better on one of those trees. So obviously this tree is too small to climb, but it's an awesome example of a tree with negative lean, and it'll serve as an awesome example as to how to climb this tree. Now, if you've ever climbed a tree, whether it's with climbing sticks or not, and you kind of felt like, wow, I've got some lean to it, or you're struggling, it's probably because the tree has lean to it. And so this tree is negatively facing this way. This is what's called the negative side of the tree, and this side over here is what's considered the positive side of the tree. And it's always going to be easier for you to climb the positive side of the tree, because as you're climbing, you're facing into the tree. You're not fighting the gravity that's pulling you back, and it gives you something to lean back against. Whereas when you lean it back against this, you're further away from the tree, and that's the best way that this poor redneck can explain it to you. But if you have to climb the negative side of a tree, because sometimes on the other side there's another tree or something like that, and we're talking about like a cluster of trees, sometimes you have to climb this. So I'm going to show you the easiest way to use these on the negative side of a tree, and there is a little bit of a trick to it, so bear with me. Okay, so you've got your step on the tree, and on a bigger tree this is going to be more apparent. And this is actually probably a bad example because it's such a small tree, the strap can cinch down pretty tight. But on a bigger tree, you're going to have a little more play to that rope, and this rope's going to want to run up and down. And sometimes on the negative side of the tree, this step has wanted to tilt out or go sideways like this, because again, you're trying to climb a tree with some awkwardness to it with the force. So to avoid it going side to side or on a bigger tree popping down, what you want to do is settle this step. So what you'll do is you do this with your foot. I'm going to do it with my hand, but you put it there. You're going to want to push it down after you've set it. And what that does is that creates that angle right there, right? And it pulls the top of this step back into the tree. So instead of holding it down here more of that force is up top. And when you step on that, I mean, I can pull down. It doesn't separate at all. So if you ever have to use these steps to climb up a negative sloping tree or the negative side of a tree or a lean, go ahead as you're setting these up, push them down just a little bit to settle them ahead of time, and that'll keep this from sliding side to side, because once you settle it and you put pressure on it, it just doesn't move near as much. So there's my opinion. They're fun to climb with, they're easy to use, they're compact, and they're quiet. Now there's one downside to these trees. Down here in Florida, we've got some variation of pine tree. Maybe you guys who are listening can tell me what it is. And it has got this incredibly paper thin bark. And when you have to strap around the tree 13 times, actually this is a set of 10, so 10 times, you end up making a little more noise than you would want to. That's the only drawback, is they are a touch noisier. But again, guys, it's a real subtle noise. I don't know that it would ever really cost you anything on a big deer. If you're super noise conscious, it might bug you, but I don't know that these trees exist everywhere. And again, it's like a super paper thin bark. In fact, I'm going to include a clip now of me back in November where I killed my doe this past year on publicland, and you can hear just how thin that bark was. I don't know that everybody has that to deal with. Listen. One of these pines that just sheds this paper thin bark. But realistically, it's not a drawback to these. I really like them. This is a set of 10. I can get about 17, 18 feet, and I'm short and I'm inflexible. If you're a little taller or you have the stride to help you, you could definitely extend these even further. And with a platform, I'm probably sitting somewhere between 18 and 20 feet with a set of 10 of these. So I mean, the options are endless with these guys. I can't speak highly enough about these products. Sean's an awesome guy. He took countless hours of his day to help me learn how to use these, to walk me through the same mistakes that I was making all the time. He's a very awesome fella, wonderful to deal with, and I can't recommend him enough. I don't know, I've said that like 20 times now, but honestly, I'm not often impressed by a lot of hunting products, but this is one of them that I feel like you're really getting your money's worth. I think they're about $120 for a set of 10 and 2 bags and a belt, which is right there on par with all your climbing sticks. And honestly, it's probably better than a lot of them because you don't have to modify these. You know, if you get a 33-inch stick, you've got to cut it down to make it close to what this is for packability. Versatility. I think everybody should have 6 of these anyways. I know my co-host Chase is going to have several in his pocket just because there are sometimes he wants to get a little higher up and he'll use his sticks to climb up the majority of the way, and then a couple of these to finish you know, the height that he's looking for. So check them out. There's a link below, and let them know that we sent you over there, and drop some comments down below and let me know what you think about it. What were some of the things you have questions about? What would you like to see changed? I know that he's got new colors coming out, new straps coming out, a lot of cool stuff coming from him, including new pouches that are going to go on your hips as well. So if you enjoyed this video, hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell on the bottom right corner that tells you whenever we've dropped a new video. And don't forget to check out the podcast. There's links below. We have weekly episodes on hunting and fishing topics, largely hunting, and we'd love to have you join the community. So find us on Facebook, Instagram. We have a small closed group called Chasing Tall Tales. We'd love to see you there.